Ray, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I manage my income as a new homeowner and a single mom of two. I do want to be transparent and share a little bit about my history because it does have a lot to do with how I arrived here at home ownership. With that being said, let's just rewind a little bit and I'm going to tell you some things that you may not know. First of all, I am a disabled veteran. I served 7 years in the United States Army, and with that comes a lot of benefits. I have access to the VA home loan program. I get tax breaks. I also have medical and vision, dental insurance, and I also have education benefits. And these are all things that I take advantage of to live the life that I want to live, basically. So, with that, let's just talk a little bit about the education benefits, and then we're going to jump into how I use these things. So, I did do half of my schooling while I was active duty. Active duty. So that means I earned my associate's degree while I was active duty. If I was smart, I would have did all 4 years, but that is a different story for a different day. I did my other 2 years, actually, it was less than 2 years, as a civilian, and my GI Bill paid for those benefits. Now, in addition to the military stuff, I also work a 9 to 5, and then I also have multiple investment accounts, but I don't pocket any money from those accounts. Anything I do earn gets reinvested. So with that being said, let's just jump straight into how I was able to buy this lovely home. All right, so in June 2022, I got out of the military. I was in a whole lot of debt and I was not very good with money and I didn't have a whole lot of money. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know where I was going to work. And at this time, I wasn't receiving any type of benefit at all. And a lot of my military benefits I started to learn about over time, and I just started to supply myself so that I was able to get those benefits. So starting out, I had absolutely nothing, and for a little while, I struggled very, very hard. Like it was rough. Could not afford too much of anything. So much so, I did reach out to my parents and I asked if I can move back home so I can go to school, work, and save up to buy a house, but also get out of debt. So with that, they said yes, and I was able to do exactly what I said I was going to do. So one of the first things that I did when I got out of the military, I looked for a job and I also enrolled in school. Now, all of the money that I was earning from school, the VA was paying me. That's what is it? The housing allowance. Any income that I was getting in from the VA, I started to, well, actually, I'm sorry, that's not even the VA at this point. That's my GI Bill. Any income that I was getting from the GI Bill, I would use that towards savings or paying off my debt. And also, my income from working was also going towards saving and paying off debt. So I would say about my first 6 months to a year when I started working and being in school, all of the money that I was receiving went strictly towards just paying debt. At one point, I wasn't even able to save any money. So I was basically the bulk of my income. If it wasn't, I think at the time I had, my car note and a few other bills. I was paying those things. And then everything else was going towards things that I had in collections and credit cards and stuff that I just ran up over time. And fortunately for me, I had parents who allowed me to stay with them while I got myself out of financial trouble. And they did not require me to pay any bills while I was with them. All of the money that I had coming in, I was able to use it how I saw fit. And so I decided to take full advantage of that opportunity. So I really wasn't doing a whole lot of leisurely things. Most of my money went towards just paying off my debt. And I was pretty much broke, but I was also putting myself in a really good financial position. So eventually, once I paid off all my debt, because mind you, before I became a homeowner, I did reach a point of being 100% debt free. I paid my car off and I paid every bill that I had in my name was at a zero balance. Credit cards, collections, anything, you name it, it was at a zero balance. So that left me with my car insurance. I didn't have a car note anymore because I ended up paying my car off. So, but I had my car insurance, I had my cell phone bill, and I had my storage bill. I want to say those were the only three bills that I had, and these bills together, what, I don't even think they were $600. I don't think it was $600. So I had a lot of income at that point that I was able to just throw into savings. I just kept throwing my money into savings and just doing things to help raise my credit score. And once I got my credit score over 700, that's when I applied for the VA home loan program. And because of my job and my VA benefits, which eventually kicked in because I did have to file a claim to get those VA benefits. So with home ownership comes a lifestyle change, a major lifestyle change, because we went from having hardly any bills to having a little bit of debt and now a mortgage, and we have utilities, and we have a whole bunch of other things that just be happening. And how do we manage that? How do we sustain this life? Well, first of all, you have to pay attention to your finances. I prioritize my money, and the first thing my money is going to do, it's going to pay all of my bills. I don't do nothing without making sure my bills are paid. Mortgage get paid first, and then everything else follows. And whatever is left over, we're going to put it in savings, or we're going to do whatever it is we do with our money. But for the most part, I do try to save. I don't really put as much money into my savings as I should, because right now, if I'm being honest with you and transparent, because that's what we're doing here, my expenses are a little bit on the higher end. So I don't save as much as I would like to, but I do try to save, and I also put money into my investment accounts. We have to pay attention to our money. We have to pay attention to how we are spending. And I feel like it's so easy when you are making a decent amount of money, it's so easy to get off track. But you can't lose focus, because if you do, you find yourself in a financial hole. So it's very important when your lifestyle changes and if your income significantly increase, don't take that as a thing for you to just go out and splurge and just spend money. You still need to be strategic. Unless you're just making that much money to where you don't have to pay attention to your income, then I guess this isn't for you. But this is for those who reach a certain point, but you still have to be strategic with your money. And that's exactly what this lifestyle, at least for me, it requires me to be strategic. So I'm not just going out here and spending and going crazy, because things happen. I have to have a plan, and we need to constantly save, and we have to pay attention to how we're spending our money. So I try to limit myself on the things that are absolutely unnecessary. I know how to cook. So I'm gonna, cook food, and we're gonna have leftovers versus eating out. And in the beginning, that was not the case, because I was a little bit crazy at first and just doing whatever felt convenient, because I just couldn't do it. I just felt like everything was just too much and I just needed convenience. But that's not always smart, especially when anything can happen. So you need to have anything can happen fund, and you just need money set aside. You have to continue to add to your savings every single month and just spend your money accordingly. And keep in mind that your utility bills and other bills may fluctuate because it's based off of usage. So, with that being said, let's see what else. So, we talked about savings. So, you guys know that we're using VA money and our education benefits. That's how we were able to save a lot of money very quickly. And because we had no debt, so we got that. And we just talked about how a new lifestyle comes new expenses. We discussed that. And we talked a little bit about budgeting. Now, that's pretty much all I had for my notes. And I don't know if you want a more detailed video about how to budget, but budgeting, it can be simple, but it can also be very overwhelming because when you're budgeting, you have to really calculate every dime and give every dollar an assignment. That's basically how you budget. If you know you have debt to pay and you have bills, you need to prioritize them based off of what you absolutely have to have. And then if you have credit cards or any type of loans, you want to prioritize those bills based off of the one that has the highest interest rate. So I feel like that's pretty vague, but I hope that you can kind of understand where what I'm saying with that. um, and then everything else, just you just have to be smart about it. Don't overspend. Be aware of what you're spending when you're going to the grocery store. If you need to go shopping, if something comes up with the kids, you just need to be very aware of what you have. So do not be afraid to look at your bank account. As a matter of fact, I always look at my bank account. Anytime I'm about to spend some money, I'm opening up my bank app and I'm gonna see how much money I have because I don't want to go over a budget. I do set a budget for everything. I set my grocery budget, a shopping budget, a leisure budget. If we're just going out to just have fun, doing whatever we're going to do, there's a budget for everything, and I don't want to go over it because if I do, then that's going to put us at risk. So, with that being said, that's pretty much how I manage my income as a new homeowner and a single mom. We just budget and we pay attention to what we're spending and we try our best to not overspend. I'm not going to say that I've never had a month where I didn't overspend because I definitely have, but that is a lesson learned. But we learn from our mistakes and we just do better and we keep it moving. But I also want to add this too. You should always be looking for new streams of income and increase your income wherever you can. For me, I have a lot of promotion opportunities at work. We get bonuses at work, we get pay increases. Sorry about that. We got disconnected because my camera overheated. But I was basically just saying that I am always looking for new ways to increase my income and to bring in new income. I just enjoy hustling, I enjoy making money. So you can't be afraid to ask for those promotions, ask for those pay raises, or go for those projects that's going to bring in that new revenue if you're somebody that enjoy making money as well. But with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for this video. I really appreciate it if you stuck with me this entire time. I really appreciate you for just clicking on this video to begin with. But thank you so much for watching. Feel free to ask me any questions, leave a comment, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.